Cassie Marino VanDyke, a woman of God, a servant leader with women's empowerment always at the forefront of her mind. Cassie reminds us to never give up, for God knows the plans that He has for us, and what is for you is for you. Even if you don't believe in Him, He believes in you. So inspirational. Welcome, Cassie. Welcome to She Leads Boldly, the podcast for faith-driven women navigating high-stakes leadership without compromising what matters most. I am Sharika Sanders, your host, mentor, and kingdom business leader. Here, we embrace bold leadership rooted in purpose, not pressure. This space is for the woman who refuses to choose between faith and ambition, family and fulfillment, impact and rest. Each week, you'll hear powerful conversations, practical strategies, and spirit-led wisdom to help you advocate for yourself, lead with integrity, and rise without burnout. If you're ready to lead boldly, live faithfully, and never settle for less than what God has promised, you're in the right place. So I'm excited for me and us, us in our conversation, but also those of us who are listening, because I have someone who is, I'm going to call her a quiet storm. And I don't know if quiet is the right, but
I was going to say, I don't know about quiet, but I love storm.
But I say that in the best way possible because she's the best type of storm, a ball of energy, high-spirited, kind, and just really a great person that I feel like whenever Cassie is in the room, she's an atmosphere changer.
Oh, you're
And
kind.
so I'm excited to see how our atmosphere is changed today and those listening after our conversation. So thank you.
Thank you for having me. This is such a pleasure. Obviously, I've known you for some time. I've been listening to your podcast. I've worked with you in the past. This is a pleasure for me as well, because I think it's just a great opportunity for women to come to the table, to discuss, to share all the things. I think that we as women can do a disservice if we're not being honest and vulnerable and real, because when we share our story, we share a truth that helps other women know they're not alone. And if they find something in our truth that they can identify with and is relatable, it might give them the courage to move forward, to push ahead. So I love just the chance to chat. Plus, I love you. So thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. She's already kicking us off, because what you're saying made me think about vulnerability and how a lot of women don't want to go there because it's perceived as being weak, or
Right.
I don't want to cry, which whoever said you had to cry. If you do, that's fine and that's your business, but nobody said that's what it had to include. But what I hear you saying is the strength and vulnerability in the community that you can also gain when you're being vulnerable and just showing up as yourself, because
Yes,
there's nothing greater than community.
that is true. And I am reminded of a time in my life I was much younger. And as a part of our church, one of the opportunities we have is to minister to one another. In our women's ministry, we have the chance to kind of tend to other sisters in our congregation. And there's kind of a list given out, and you get to companion up with another sister, and you visit different women in the ward just to check in on them and see how they're doing, and see what their needs are, if they're doing well. And I can remember being young, being single, being sassy, in a different life, and being asked to visit a woman who was a little older than me. She was married. She looked like her home came out of, Home and Garden, and her children were, those J. Crew models. I was very, very intimidated because we were so different. And I remember the very first time I went to visit with her, again, just wanting to do what's right, and kind of do my duty and take care of the other sisters in our congregation. I went to visit with her, And she had just had a child. She was struggling with postpartum depression. And so when I got there, she let me in. We kind of started chatting, and I remember things shifting very quickly because when I first got there, it was very, I will be the perfect hostess and I will, get
Yeah.
your drink and sit you down and you'll sit on my perfect couch, blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden she's burst into tears. And I remember going, oh, whoa, what happened?
Oh
And
my
she started
goodness.
telling me all these different things, these emotions, these hardships, these struggles she was going to after having delivered. And as I started talking with her, we really found a comfortable and safe space to open up, and I could listen even though I couldn't totally relate. I could listen, I could
Right.
console her, I could offer peace and comfort.
Right.
And I remember that she came to me after the fact and said she was so intimidated to meet me because I was so different than her,
Oh,
which was the
wow.
same feeling I had going into her home. And yet, because she was struggling so badly, all of those pretenses on both sides completely went away. And we
Oh,
became the
wow.
best of friends. And so I think that that is where I gained the understanding of she wasn't trying to be real and raw and vulnerable. She
Mm-hmm.
couldn't help it. And the minute she did, I did. And all of a sudden,
Mm-hmm.
all the masks came down, right? And we were just two women coming together, finding a common space, creating a safe harbor. And it
Amazing.
really made a difference. And it started from where? That place of just opening up and being real.
Oh my gosh. So that's so big because one, that means the way that you were showing up, even though you were intimidated by her and all the things, you still showed up as your true self. And it gave her the comfort because she could have been back against the wall a second from
Sure.
crying, and the wrong type of energy, the wrong type of person could have come in, and it would have been none of that. But
It's true.
you gave her that safe space. So kudos to you for that, but also
Thank
to
you.
that point of how oh my gosh, I'm sure everyone listening can think of probably name 5 times quickly where they were presented with a situation or entered a situation or met a person and had all of these different ideas about who the
Certainly.
person is and what they do and all of these different things. And it's none of that, or they have that same thing about you, and it's like everybody's intimidated and nervous and
Oh, you're trying so hard to impress one another. And that's what I remember
yeah,
about us both. We were both trying so hard to impress the other person because we were so intimidated. And then all of a
yeah,
sudden it went away like that quickly. Because I'm sorry, the steer, once the tears started, my true self came out.
yeah.
I'm a caretaker at heart. Someone was in trouble. I was like, whoa, hold on. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
know I'm afraid of you and I'm
Mm-hmm.
supposed to be stressed out and this is really intimidating, but are you okay? And she's like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not okay. And she had told me after the fact she had, her lines memorized. She knew what she was going to say to put forth the perfect, facade. And she
Wow.
forgot everything because she was so emotional and she was hurting so badly. And so when we start from that place of being real, we give others a permission to do the same,
Mm-hmm.
and everything else just
Mm-hmm.
falls away. It's good.
Yep.
It all just falls away.
Yeah, absolutely. It's, I'll tell you, even with starting this podcast, that was a big one because so
Nice.
many people congratulated me on it and told me how much they loved it, and I didn't have one. And I was like, thank you, but I don't have a podcast. And but it was based on the segments that I used to do
Sure.
previously, but I gained so much. The purpose of doing the segments was to highlight other business owners, men and
Of
women,
course.
kind of help put them out there. But I gained so much from that time because people would come on and they would be like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so nervous." And,
Mhm.
I've seen some of your other video. And I was like, what, me? Are
You're
you
like, it's just me. It's
are
just
you sure?
fun.
Like, and it's crazy. And especially because I would feel that way about certain people, especially if it was an
Sure.
entrepreneur who had been in business 10, 15 years. And
Sure.
I'm like, well, it's been 2 years. It's been,
Oh,
and so they've established a lot more of their business of themselves. And it's
sure.
like, no, like, I'm seeing what you're doing, but it's when we let those guards down and I was I have a conversation just yesterday with someone, and one of the things now that I've started to tell myself when I start to have those feelings of intimidation or inferiority or
Sure, sure.
whatever it
Right.
is how much of a disservice am I doing to God by downplaying who I am
Yeah, of
and what
course.
I bring to the table over someone else? Because He's gifted all of us.
Certainly.
He
Certainly.
gifted
Agreed.
them, He gifted me. We all
Right.
carry a gift. And even if it's the same gift, we all have different ways of using it. And we all are a blessing to someone in some form or fashion, and multiple people even. And so how much of a disservice, and do we ever even think about that of we just think
Yeah.
about ourselves, but if we take us,
A
the
step
flesh
back.
out, the self out,
Hmm.
and think
Hmm.
about how much of a disservice am I doing to God when I say I'm not worthy of another
Sure.
person?
Sure. Right. Right. And I can't agree with that more. I think that we often forget, especially as women in this
Yes.
society, we are
Yes.
better than we know. We are
Hmm.
better than we think we are. We are more than enough. And I don't think that that's an arrogant thing, but it's because of whose we are, right? We were
Hmm.
debated and excuse me, we were created in a divine image. So it's not that you're so great because you've done all these amazing things. It's you're so
Hmm.
great because God made you that way. He gave you those
Hmm.
talents. He gave you those characteristics. He gave you the ability to shine and to become. And you're right. I often tell there was a good little long time where I was over the youth ministry for girls 11 to 17 in my
Hmm.
church, and I would often tell them, please don't try to be a poor imitation of someone else. Be the
Right.
best version of yourself because everyone else is already taken, and
Hmm.
God created you for a purpose. Lean
Yes.
into your purpose, lean into the divine, look at
Yeah.
who and what you are, and remember, and I love that word, remember whose you are. And I would try to share with them
Hmm.
much of life is not about, I know it's popular to say becoming, right? It's we're
Right.
becoming, we're developing,
Hmm.
we're recognizing. I always told the girls it was about remembering,
Mm.
remembering who they were before they got to this earth, remembering what God instilled in them, remembering and realizing that potential because it's already there. It's already inside.
Hmm. So I always try to, as our conversation flows, tie it back to scripture.
Sure.
And ironically, based on what we were initially
Supposed to talk about.
right thinking to speak about, it was something, a verse that stuck out for me. But as you were just saying that, it still applies. And
Yes.
this is a popular one that many of us know, Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for
Mhm.
you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future. And when you say that about to those girls and as women now,
Sure.
remembering whose we are and that He already has a plan
Already
set
there.
for us.
Yes. Yes. It's already there.
He already has a path set for us, and we are to trust Him and walk in it.
Absolutely, 1,000%. And so, to your original point, we are doing a disservice when we're not magnifying who
Yeah.
we are, the traits that we've been given. I almost think about the parable of the talents. We've all
Hmm.
been given talents. Our job is to magnify and to
Hmm.
amplify and to lean in. I remember telling somebody once, a friend of mine who was struggling with dating, and she's a big personality. She's a big girl. She's a wonderful person. And I say big in all the ways, faithful, successful, intelligent, articulate, just a big personality. And that can be a lot for some gentlemen. And she
Yeah.
felt like she needed to change it up and become small. And I
Mm.
remember saying, yeah, no, there's no reason for you ever to become
Mm-mm.
small to make someone else comfortable. You're much
Mm-mm.
better off being who you are, true to yourself, and let them level up because they've got it too. They're just not there yet.
Yeah,
And that's okay. You might need
absolutely.
to wait, but what is for you is for you. So we're not going to make ourselves small. We're not going to diminish what God
Right.
has gifted us with to make others comfortable. That is not our job.
Hey, sis, can we pause for a quick moment? If you've been feeling that tug to go deeper, to become the wife God actually called you to be, not just the one the world expects, I have something special for you. Join me on January 10th, 2026 for Becoming Her, the Wife God Called, right here in Atlanta, Georgia. It's a day designed for ambitious, faith-filled wives and moms and wives in waiting to reconnect with God's pace, surrounded by powerful speakers, luxury gift bags, amazing food, and a sisterhood that gets it. Tickets are just $50, but seats are limited. And trust me, they'll go fast. And if you're a brand or business that believes in empowering women of faith, there are sponsorship opportunities available too. So don't wait. Head to Transform the Gap, that's GAAP.com. Click events to grab your ticket or learn more about partnering with us. Now let's get back to today's episode. And it's so funny. It's sometimes we get in those spaces where, the person is loud and you see like sometimes you're somewhere and you see somebody come in the room and they're loud and everybody just seems like to
Gravitate.
yes, gravitate. Thank you.
Sure.
Gravitate towards that person and all the things. And you're kind of, and it's a little intimidating at first because you're not that at all. And then you have those like, maybe I should be a little, but it's
Sure.
funny when that person then comes to you and can appreciate your calm to
Certainly.
their storm.
Yes. To their storm.
You're
Love
calm
it.
to their crazy or
Yeah.
whatever it is, and find that balance. And you even see people like that in relationships. It's like, oh, she talks so much, and her
Yes.
husband never
Of
says
course.
anything. I
Of
bet he
course.
never gets a word in, but they balance
Yep.
each other out because there may be times where she goes off the deep end and it's his calm that
Certainly.
helps to reel her
Certainly.
back in, or vice versa. And another thing that you said earlier as well, it made me think about when someone compliments us for something, or they say, thank you so much, or I really appreciate. And sometimes, especially as Christians, I don't, I don't want to
Diminish. Yep. We
I don't want to
diminish.
be too
Mhm.
proud or right. First of all, there's nothing wrong with accepting a compliment. And if it makes you, uncomfortable because they're just laying on, just say, well, thank God, because we know that's who gives it all to
Right.
us. But don't push back. Don't say no or don't deny because in giving thanks to you and honor to you, they are giving it to him because he placed that gift within
Agreed.
you.
Agreed. And I do think that that is cultural. I do
Yeah.
think, again, as women, we're taught to be demure and to be humble and
Yes.
to be meek, and that's fine. And I don't disagree, but there's the humility that we use to diminish ourselves and say, "Oh, I'm not all that." No, well, it's when you say,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, I love your outfit." Well, it was the only thing that I had, or "Oh, your
Right.
hair is beautiful." Well, I just, if only it was more curly. All those things. No,
Uh-huh.
it's the humility that comes when you know your maker and know that those gifts came from him. And
Mm-hmm.
and that is a real thing. I remember going through a struggle as I got older, starting to get compliments and falling into that trap of, oh well, it's only, or I'm
Mm-hmm.
just, or yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but so and so is so much more.
Yeah.
And I literally remember someone talking to me about something similar, and I had to stand in the mirror and practice going, thank you so much, and then not talk anymore.
Yes.
And it's a skill, and yet it's appropriate because we don't need to diminish, nor should we diminish. And again, that says that Heavenly Father's not doing his work when
Mm-hmm.
he gave us all those things, so we can humbly accept that praise with a very simple thank you so much, and then keep it moving. We do
Yeah.
not, as women, need to make excuses. We do not need to make things look small. We do
Mm-hmm.
not need to come up with, oh, but her. No, 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 no. You look amazing today. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Stop talking.
Right. The end.
The end. Full stop.
Yes, absolutely. And I it does bring me back to something you said in saying that thank you and community and really, because first of all, I think these are reminders that we have to hear. We have to hear these things But I don't want this message to be one of those where you hear it and you're feeling great. And it's like the parable, and I'm going to get all the different versions wrong, but some people hear the word and it goes by the wayside, and some and it falls into the weeds, and some in all the different ways that we receive information and how we retain it. And I don't want our conversations to be things where people feel, you're absolutely right, I'm great, I'm wonderful, and then the podcast ends and they move on, and then somebody says
Sure,
something to them an hour later and now their whole day is ruined again. So I
sure.
really hope that when we have conversations like this, that it convicts, because that's what some of us, it has to be a conviction. And
Yes.
for others, just increasing a desire that we may already have to go to the word and become familiar with the word. Someone recently asked me, she was like, sure, I don't, how am I supposed to read the Bible? And which was a very open-ended question, but I kind of figured
Mhm.
where she was trying to go.
Sure, sure, sure.
Um, and she was like, because I'm getting up. I was like, yeah, I get it. You get up, but you're sleepy, so you fall asleep. Or and then you wake up when it's time to get up and you haven't read anything, you're still on that same page, or you don't understand what it is you're reading. But number one, there are so many different translations. And I always say, find one that works best. Like a lot of people like New Living Translation, for example,
Mhm.
because it's a little bit more in everyday terms and something
Sure.
that you can
The language.
understand and helps you
Mhm.
to read, because it's an amazing story. And it has like action and highs and lows. And it's like your best movie ever. And I think if we can find those translations that can help us with that. And then I also, in telling her that, I say, if your time is in the morning, or even if it's at the end of the day, and you start reading and start getting tired or start falling asleep, then have praise and worship first. Do that first, because that's gonna wake you up.
Yeah,
That's gonna make you start moving. And
sure.
especially in the mornings. I remember, because get up at 5 o'clock, and if I didn't go to bed until after midnight, and I'm like, oh my goodness,
Certainly. That's a
this
lot.
is a lot, right?
That's a
And I'm like,
lot.
but I said I was going to read, so let me read, and it wouldn't work. And so I was like, okay, this is what, and I started listening to praise and worship, and then by the time I had listened to a few songs, it was like,
And you
oh,
were
now
ready. Yep.
I'm ready. But
Yes.
also, it doesn't have to look like somebody else's. Just like we were
That's what I was
talking
going to
about with
say.
this.
Yes, that's exactly what I was going to say because it's not a program. It's your life. And
Yeah.
there are days where one verse is enough because it speaks to me what I'm
Yep.
going through. There are
Yep.
days where I'm going to read a little bit longer. There are
Yeah.
days where I'm driving to school with my son and I'm listening in the car because
Mm-hmm.
that's the time I
Mm-hmm.
have and I want to share that with him.
Mm-hmm.
It and so I think that that's where again we will sometimes struggle is well this is what I'm supposed to do. This is the program or the outline. These are the boxes I need to check.
Yeah.
The box that needs to be checked is that it's done, not how it's done. I
Mm-hmm.
think that we lean into what works best for us. And I
Mm-hmm.
appreciate that you brought up praise and worship because for me, sometimes I get lost in the language of the scriptures, but music will always, always move me and
Yes.
calm my soul and make my spirit just
Yes.
happy. And so there are days where that feeds me more than anything else,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
But I also
Mm-hmm.
have to know what works for me
Mm-hmm.
and I can't say, well, but Sharika did this. Oh, I'm a failure
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't,
Mm-hmm.
right? I have to know my strengths. I have to lean into my divine. I have to
Yes.
do what works for me so that I am getting the spirit of the experience, not beating
Yes.
myself up for not doing it the way someone else did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I appreciate that. And it makes me think about something else too, because if you think about a place or a platform, social media overall, but I'll say like something like YouTube specifically, where you can go
Uh-huh.
on and listen to a whole full sermon, and that's great.
Yeah.
But are you doing your own follow-up? Are you doing your own reading? Because one of the things that I tell people all the time is, while the words in the Bible are what they are, and they don't change, they change, their meaning changes to us based on where we
Based
are
on
in
your
life.
life. Yes, exactly. Absolutely. The revelation that you will receive, the impressions from the Spirit and the Holy Ghost, Yes, there are different
Yeah.
times, there are different seasons. I love and I appreciate that you brought that up because it is different based on what you're going through and
Mm-hmm.
what you need changes to based on your season of life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I just think when we spend that time in ourselves, and I had a conversation with someone recently, and she brought up and ever since she's told me this, I feel like my mind was just blown, and I repeat it every chance I get. And she was talking about the story that many of us are familiar with, the two fish and the five loaves and a bread, and
Mhm.
how
Mhm.
God was able to feed the multitude with that. Well, she said he took it, meaning the bread. He took it,
Yes.
he broke it, he blessed it, and he gave it.
Hmm.
And when she said it like that, as many times as I've heard that story, when she said that, it it woke something up
Sure.
inside of me. And I was like, oh, that's us. He takes us, he breaks us, he takes away all of those things about us, things that other people's bad habits that we've picked up,
Right, right,
jealousy, envy, the intimidation, fear, because fear is not of God, fear,
right.
all of these things that we've allowed to become a part of our being. And he breaks and knocks all of that off. He prunes all of that off of us. And then he blesses us and he sends us out into the masses to go and be a disciple and an example of him and to share his word. And so I want those who are hearing us and saying, well, am I his, or questioning their
Like,
relationship,
that's
but
nice
not
for them,
really
but not me.
feeling it right.
If that's nice for them, but not me.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Who that, yeah, that's not my story. That's not how
Right,
it is for
right, right. I feel like I've been taught two things come to mind. I was actually studying prayer last week and was preparing for a presentation I have to give and remembered some words I heard about prayer many, many years ago. And I went and pulled up my notes. And part of what I was reading was what an amazing gift it is to talk directly to God. And
hmm
not just to talk to God, but to know that He listens and answers. And so I was studying prayer, and part of what I was reading was that sometimes God says yes, sometimes God says no,
hmm
sometimes God says nothing.
mm
And when He says nothing, it's easy to get frustrated or start to fear or doubt or wonder, what's wrong with me? Why isn't He answering my prayers?
hmm
And that when He says nothing, rather than being upset, we should be grateful He trusts us to know
hmm
that we will continue to move forward in faith, that we will continue to
Yes.
stay on the path, that we will have the courage without the knowledge to keep doing to the best of our ability, because obviously we may not have total trust in Him, but He has total trust in us. So when He doesn't answer right away or the way that we would want, rather than starting to feel lost or helpless,
Mm-hmm.
like maybe put your chin up and puff your chest out a teeny tiny bit, because God has enough faith in you to
Yeah.
allow you to stretch so that you can then gain that faith in yourself and in Him.
Yes. That's amazing. And I said this earlier, but I never went to it. What I said I was going to refer to something you'd said or actually written. And I think this is a great addition to that, which is even if you don't believe in him, he believes in you.
It's true.
And meaning you're questioning what's happening. Things in the natural don't look like what he's said for you, he's called you to, or what you expect them to be. And you've done all the things, or feel like you've done all the things.
Certainly, certainly.
And you're like, what? He, it must be me. It must be something against me. It may be something that I've done. And that's why we have that intimate time, because it could be. And if that is the case, though, when you have that intimate time, whenever we're going through or whatever we have a situation, Have you asked, what am I to learn for this? From
Right.
this? What is it that you
Right.
want me to start doing that I'm not, or that I'm currently doing that I need to stop?
Certainly.
And have that time. It's okay to ask those questions when you are unsure. But then, and here's the secret
Mm-hmm.
we all seem to miss. That's not a secret. Listen,
Right.
have some quiet time. You, in your intimate time, you can read, you can have praise and worship, you can pray, but also just be quiet.
Yeah.
Just be quiet and say, what is it that you want to say to me? I'm here, I'm listening, and I'm available, because while all of the other things are great, that's all of those are ways that he's talking to us.
Sure. Sure. And faith is an action word. I'm listening with the intent to do.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
follow with exactness. I am willing to serve. I'm willing to do. I'm willing to be humble enough to wait for answers that aren't coming. I'm willing to be the child in the storm, knowing that the
Mm-hmm.
storm will rage. I'm willing to follow, understanding that the
Mm-hmm.
answers are not immediate. I will continue to pray for the determination to keep getting up, keep fighting that fight, keep putting one foot in front of the other, even though things aren't turning out the way that I want them to. And that I want to end with just this thought that I had a different life many, many years ago and had a plan. And I was so certain of what I wanted for myself. I was single. I was working towards my career, was pursuing my education. I had a whole plan that I knew. I
Mm-hmm.
knew exactly what I wanted in my life. God knew better. He knew what I
Mm-hmm.
needed to
Yes.
help me become the woman he wanted me to be. And so I moved halfway across the country. I married a wonderful man. I became a first time mother at 40. Thank you very much. And my life is completely different than it would have been. I'm not saying I lived a bad life or that I was a bad person, but you learn things as a wife and a mother that you would never learn in other arenas.
Yes.
To love the way God loves because we're his children, to have that concern for another person that he has for us, to be humble enough to sacrifice. Those are not things I could have really experienced in my other life simply because I had a house and a cat. Again, no shade on that whatsoever. I knew what I wanted, but God had bigger, better plans for me. And now
Mm-hmm.
I look at the life we live. My husband is the leader of our congregation. My son is my son,
Amazing.
my greatest blessing and biggest challenge, but he stretches me and teaches me in ways that I could not learn otherwise. And so I think when we can allow ourselves to let God lead, and I think that even though we all know that, it's still we have to allow it. He can do so much better things with our lives
Yeah.
than we can. I
Mm-hmm.
have these ideas, these plans, these desires. I know what I want. He knows what I need. And at the end of the day,
Mm-hmm.
to become who he wants me to be and to live to my
Mm-hmm.
fullest potential,
Mm-hmm.
you've got to have
Mm-hmm.
the eternal perspective and vision. And that's what he had for me in my life. I'm so
Yeah.
grateful.
He
So
knows he
grateful.
knows what you need, and he'll still give you what you want. How about that?
There you go. There you go. It is true. I'm so grateful. I'm so blessed. I'm so yeah, I never say lucky because I don't believe in luck.
Right,
I
right.
believe that we do our very best. God does the rest. One
Mm-hmm.
thing I keep going back to my time as the leader of the youth ministry, but I would tell the girls all the time, God is and can do everything, anything. He's all knowing, all powerful, but he cannot do math.
Yes.
I have experienced in my life that God is not great with numbers and he cannot do math. Why? I put in 10%, maybe 15. I'm expecting to get 85 or 90 back because that
Yeah.
makes sense. But what I have found in my life is I put in like 7%, 10%. He gives
Yeah.
me 100,000 million back, which makes no mathematical sense. That's God math right there.
Yeah.
That
I
is
like
God
that.
math.
Yes.
I I can't begin to express my gratitude for blessings that I have been given, even though I don't deserve them, for
Mm-hmm.
opportunities to grow and stretch and develop and become someone so much better than I would have without his hand. And just appreciate the opportunity to sometimes as a bystander in my life, I go, wow, I never imagined this. You're right, I didn't, because I have an earthly view.
Yeah.
God's got that eternal perspective, and I'm grateful that He put His hand to my life and touched it to become what it is right now.
Thank you. Thank you for all of this.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
This was an amazing conversation. And I think I'll say one last thing that
Yes.
you said is and about how God trusts us to weather the storm.
Yes.
The trial that we hear about and we've read that Job went through, it was because God trusted him. And so
Yes.
I would leave you with the question of, can God trust you enough to bless you? Because we know so much comes through that. That may be a storm. It may be how we steward. It can be so many different things.
Sure.
Can He trust you?
Right. Because love and trust are different. We know He loves us. He will always love us. He loved us first. Trust is earned. So as we continue to put our hand in His, step by step, follow His will, that trust is earned. And the blessings, again, He doesn't do math well. The blessings are infinite, infinite, infinite.
I love that. I love that.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for having me today. This has been an absolute wonderful conversation and a great way to just remind myself to come back to center. Thank you for the invitation. Please, let's do this again. Can we?
I was gonna. You're still in my thunder, Cassie.
I'm a storm. I'm a storm.
We can absolutely do it again. I would love to. I'm sure those listening would love to. This conversation was vulnerable. It was authentic. I felt like we were just sitting at the kitchen table.
Love
And
it.
so I thank you for that. And thank you for the space that you allowing us to be in your space. I'll say it that way.
You're kind. Thank you. This has been fantastic. And I look forward to our next conversation. Thank you, Shamika. Have a wonderful day.
Hey friend, if this episode stirred something in you, don't keep it to yourself. Make sure you subscribe to She Leads Boldly so you never miss an episode. And let's stay connected. Join our growing community of faith-driven powerhouse women where you'll find real talk, encouragement, and tools to fuel your journey. Oh, and I've created something special just for the bold, faith-driven women like you. An ebook, When You Know His Name. Discover identity, intimacy, and the power of prayer through the names of God. This ebook is designed to equip and encourage you to lead with clarity, courage, and conviction in every space God assigns you to. Available now on Amazon. And if you're ready for deeper clarity, I would love to personally walk with you. I offer a one-on-one session called Your Path to Purpose and Power, and it's to help you break through the overwhelm and realign with what God is actually calling you to in this season. Whether it's burnout, boundaries, or fresh vision, you don't have to figure it out alone. All links are in the show notes. Oh, and one last thing. I would love to hear from you. What questions are you carrying this season? What topics would serve your walk, your work, your womanhood right now? Send me a message or an email because this podcast is for you, and I want every episode to speak directly to where you are. Remember, you don't have to choose between your faith, your family, and the calling on your life. God's grace makes room for it all. So until next time, stay anchored in purpose, covered in grace, and always ready to rise. Talk soon, friend.